You are from Kashmir. You're a Kashmiri Pandit, and you've never been to Kashmir since then, 29 years, except for just going to Kargil. You just landed in Shahryar. Just told me.
I was born there. I went to school there. I have some memories of pre-Exodus tension that happened there. There was a blast below the house that we lived in, and I was kind of thrown off and like windows shattered and all of that. You've taken us away from Kashmir, but you've not taken Kashmir away from us in any way. Absolutely. Hi, this is Kunal Khemu and you're watching Bollywood Hungama. Do subscribe and hit the bell icon.
Just taking the movie into context as well, so it deals about betrayal, it deals about the sense of being hurt. It may be right or it may be from the context of the person. You are from Kashmir. You're a Kashmiri Pandit, and at the age of 6 you had to move out from Srinagar and you came to Mumbai. And you've never been to Kashmir since then, 29 years, except for just going to Kargil. You just landed in Srinagar. Just told me. How has your personal life been in terms of just moving out of your own place and in a way forced to move out of your own place and still remaining positive? You married Soha Ali Khan, who's a Muslim, but you remain very regular guy. I've never seen any sort of bitterness in you. We've never heard any sort of comments in you in the public in any way whatsoever that can be considered that there's any element of bitterness in you. So how do you just maintain that equilibrium, man?
I don't know, man. I mean, like now that you're talking about it, I'm thinking about it. I think generally in life, I know that I may not be in control of a lot of things, but one thing that I can try to be in control of is myself. And sometimes that's also tough. But I don't know if the bitterness. Look, man, I was born there. I went to school there. I have some memories of pre-Exodus tension that happened there. I don't know if it affected me because I was too young. Maybe I didn't understand it. But I heard enough stories of people talk about, and I saw we all kind of getting displaced. But I don't know. I mean, thankfully I have to give credit to my parents. They kind of created an environment for me where it didn't let any kind of bitterness or anger fester of any kind. I did feel different because I know what I know is that I used to learn Urdu there, and when I came to Bombay, it was I had to make new friends. I still don't know a lot of my extended family that are like some are in Jammu, some are in Delhi. I don't know because I don't remember meeting them after that. So I mean, those things, yes, those are the things that I used to miss. Like when I came to Bombay, and like, people would go out with their cousins and all of that. But I was like, hey, where are our cousins? They're all kind of in different places. But then you understand that there are other people who kind of move on. Life goes on, and I was always. My parents always looked after me in a really nice way. So I don't think it led to anything frustrating. I was saying, like, I used to speak Urdu, so I had to deal with the fact that I was laughed at a little bit by other kids. I was never bullied because I had a big problem with being bullied, and I would fight for my right in a way. And I remember that became a problem in my first school because Aishapat used to sound like I knew I means mother, and I used to think that they're mocking me because I would be all aap se miliye, aap hain, and they'd be like, what are you talking about? And they wouldn't understand me, I wouldn't understand them until I kind of understood it. Right. But it's been like that, man. I mean, I grew up in Mira Road, I went to school there, but then when I went to college, I went to NM college, and I had nobody from my school that came there. So yet again, I was like on my own, and then I moved from Mira Road to Yari Road, and all my friends were there. So when I moved for work to live in a place where I could travel better, I didn't have friends there. So I did kind of feel like an outsider every now and then, but it not to a level that it kind of bothered me. I've always kind of realized that there's no point me sitting down and moping about something that I'm not in control of. I'm in control of me right now. Let me try to do better in every way. I'm not the most sorted person myself. I'm flawed, but
you speak Kashmiri, and for 29 years you've never been to Kashmir. In terms of that, you've been to Srinagar and you've gone to Kargil, but you've
I haven't, and I don't know what it is to. I mean, but I have to be honest. My grandparents and a lot of older generation, I saw them dealing with a huge amount of depression, and it really affected them. I was just 6. Like I said, for me, even though I'm born there and I have memories of it, and I definitely remember the gorgeous, beautiful place that it was, and a few winters when we were throwing snowballs at each other. I've pretty much grown up in Bombay. I have seen enough people dealing with the sadness of being displaced in the elders that are in the family. But maybe maybe it was like a subconscious defense to kind of block it out and not think about it. And like I was telling you earlier, because that was the topic of discussion most of the place, it was so relevant then. And you know, News Strike used to come out with this VHS which was talking about what is happening, and there was a lot of terrible and terror infested stories that were kind of there, and you would watch, and I mean, you couldn't close your eyes. Even when I was there and I'd seen like a lot of violence happen, it didn't make any sense to me. Later on, it kind of, so I think maybe subconsciously it was a block that kind of said this should not be dwelled in for your own protection or something. And like I said, I don't want to be bitter about it. I am hopeful there are a lot more intelligent, intellectual and capable people who are trying to figure out what it is. I don't think I'm capable enough to even comment on something, because I have in some way tried to be away from the politics of the whole thing.
So how crucial is it for you now that your daughter, I think she's 2 now, that she should have a world which is maybe as less complicated as maybe you had when you were a kid?
I think every parent wants the best for their kids, and I can't wait to take her to Srinagar. Actually, I think ever since she's born, I really want to go back again, and I want to whatever little bit I remember of my school, my house, and the places that I used to go, I want to take her back, and I want to show her that. The culture obviously is always around her, because my parents are both Kashmiris. We still celebrate Shivratri. That's the biggest festival that we do. We still have those Tithi birthdays. So like I always get a call for, today is your Kashmiri birthday, today is Papa's Kashmiri's birthday, today is Mama's Kashmiri's birthday, today is my Nani's Kashmiri birthday, which is different from your English birthday. So all of that has always been alive. Kashmiri food is still relished and made. We've just been taken away from. It's like you've taken us away from Kashmir, but you've not taken Kashmir away from us in any way.
Absolutely.
And I can't imagine what my parents went through, because they've born and brought up there, you know. And I don't think I even ever had that conversation with them to say that, hey, you know, what did you guys feel like? Because I was a kid who was being looked after by you, but you had like nothing. You just had to pick up stuff and move. But like I said, I don't know. Maybe it was my own defense mechanism to like not get into that, because I don't know if there was a good news at any point.
Your parents own properties over there?
My grandparents did. I mean, we had ancestral homes there. I don't think we have them anymore.
So I'm sure that you'd love to just maybe make a movie on Kashmir and just go and shoot over there someday.
Yeah, I've always waited for, like, I always hoped, because I remember when we were kids and we were there, my mum, and like there used to be lots of films that were shot there. I remember seeing Rajesh Khanna ji once shooting very near our house, and I think my mother tagged me along. I was very young, but I know that there was a shoot of Rajesh Khanna happening there. I remember my mum and my aunts talking about, hey, Sharmila Tagore used to come there, Kashmir Ki Kali, and we've gone to see that shooting, and we saw Dharmender once shooting somewhere, and like, oh, you know, it was a popular destination for shoots. So yeah, but I was like, so if I become an actor one day, you know, there'll be a film that'll be shot there. I've not been very lucky, but I did transit Srinagar when we went to Kargil to shoot for Kalank.
Okay, now talking about your childhood, and you've been a very, very successful child artist as well. You started with Bhatt Saab, Hame Rai Pyar Ke. You've been part of Raja Hindustani, where I think you were at par with Amir Khan in terms of the entire camaraderie that you guys shared. How much of a healing phase was it for you as an individual, as a child, when you were just surrendering yourself to movies? That was 90s I'm talking about.
I don't know if, you know, I have to be honest here. I don't know if I was scarred. I'm telling you this very honestly, because I don't want to kind of be on this seeking sympathy kind of a platform. I don't want to victimize myself in any way. Like I said, I am very blessed to have parents who gave me the right childhood, and they didn't let any anger or any kind of negativity fester, at least in terms of the fact that we were displaced. My father was also somebody who went to the National School of Drama. He went down south. He actually did a film down south when he was researching art forms in Kerala, and then he worked with Sham Benegal on Bharat Ek Khoj, Yatra, and he was figuring out whether he wanted to actually make the move to Bombay or not. While I was still in Srinagar with my mum, and he used to keep going up and down. And then they started doing a show called Gulshan Gulfam.
You acted in that, apparently.
Yeah, because it was being shot right there in Dal Lake.
87 or something. You
Yeah.
were before or something.
Yeah. So I was like going to school and I used to see my mom and dad, because I think a lot of the actors were Kashmiri. And my mother used to be on stage in Srinagar also. She was also working with Doordarshan then. She used to be a television announcer there. So she was also a stage personality who used to be a folk dancer and do a little bit of theatre. So they were doing that. And that's how my first brush with acting happened, because I used to go to set, and then even that show got displaced because when the Exodus happened, then they had to shift everything and they created a set in Film City, and that's where it it happened, and hence my father, who was still trying to figure out if this is going to happen, had to make that move. So like honestly, I don't want to even get into the space of saying that, oh, I was traumatized and I was so scared. Like I said, the violence that I saw did not make sense to me. It did not give me nightmares. I don't think I had post-traumatic stress disorder, because it really didn't make any sense to me. There was a blast below the house that we lived in, and I was kind of thrown off and like windows shattered and all of that. But I remember that evening I was just excited about the fact that the news was talking about the area that I lived in, and there were people who were calling out of concern. There was a kid me, right? And as a child, I was like, hey, everybody's so worried about us. They're calling us, and everybody wants to check up on us, and people came to visit us. So, it didn't actually really scar me as such. I don't know why I haven't been able to go back. Maybe that's the damage that it did in some way. And maybe it's just a block that I have, because when I did go there, even though I was there for briefly just about a day, I just couldn't stop talking in Kashmiri to every person I met there. I couldn't stop talking about the food. I couldn't stop eating and telling others about the food and all of that stuff. But I did not recognize the city. Like when I went to Dal Lake, I know the lake, but obviously it has also changed. So I did not recognize a lot of places. I recognized Hazrat Bal because I remember what it looked like, and we crossed that, and it looks as gorgeous as it did then. I remember the mountain range, but I've now gone back to the school that I went to or the house that we lived in. So maybe that's something that I want to do with my family.
Yeah, after this discussion, this session.
No, of course, I've been planning to go there with Sohan and I.
I think you should.
I will. Go take them skiing there in Gulmarg. It's amazing there.
Yeah, it's beautiful. All right, and tell us something about the OTT platforms which are coming up. You've been part of one. And when you see your hoardings all across the city, I'm sure that that definitely is in many ways is a validation for any actor that you're getting the sort of maybe.
We all love it, man. I mean, the whole reason, one of the reasons of being an actor was like, hoarding lagegi, yaar. You'll be on a big poster. You'll be on a 70mm screen. The whole romance of being an actor is from there. I mean, we all grew up watching films. I remember I was watching Shiva or Jojita Wohi Sikandar or even any of Bachchan Saab's films. Used to be like, wow, and like one day I want to beat that guy up like that. That was our referencing. So I remember, and that's why in Superstar, that scene is something that we discussed when he sits on the thing. He says, "जब मैं पहली बार आया था ना, तो इस पे भाई का पोस्टर लगा था और तब मैंने सोचा था कि एक दिन मेरी फोटो होगी इस पे." So I mean, it's great. I mean, when you do stuff like that, an OTT platform is such an amazing thing that's just kind of blown up in the last 2 years. And while we're all still trying to understand how it really works and what's happening, there is a lot of interesting work that is happening on different platforms. And I've also kind of got to know that firsthand now that I've worked for one. And I've realized that it's pretty much like being on a film set, because it's the same technicians, the same kind of crew, the same kind of equipment that is used to make it. It's just a longish film that's kind of distributed among.
Even in terms of, I think, the marketing budgets that they have, almost everything. It's something that
pretty much. I mean, I'm really saying there will definitely be different kind of shows that are made on different platforms. Some are bigger shows, some are smaller shows, some are sitcom space, some are this. With terms to Abhay, it was pretty much like being on a film set.
So, what else are you doing for OTT?
Abhay is just finished season 1. The last episode aired on the 3rd. It's done phenomenally well for the channel. They're very happy, and there are talks of doing season 2 now. So while that is still very premature, that's about it for me on the OTT right now. Obviously, a lot of stuff is coming my way. I'm reading a lot of stuff, but it's time to get back to films now.
And so Go On sequel is happening?
Yes, I know we've spoken about it over years now, and it's heartwarming that people still love the film so much, and they still talk about it, and they still want a sequel to it. And everybody involved in the film wants to make it happen, but there have been some logistical issues that have been happening. But in next 2 months, not only will we announce it, we'll also announce the release date and the start date of the film. That's what we are heading to, and that's why we've actually not been trying to talk about it much, because we just wanted to get all of this in place, because over the last 2 years there have been multiple places where people have spoken about the film.
Yeah. So Saif will be part of it?
Of course, everybody is going to be part
And
of
Rajan DK?
it. Yes.
Alright, that's wonderful. Veerdas?
Everybody who you saw and loved in the first one is going to be a part of this one. Yes.
Alright.
Hi, this is Kunal Khemu and you're watching Bollywood Hungama. Do subscribe and hit the bell icon.